First contact, the Concordia, pride of the Zan Deep Space Fleet, drifted silently through the void between stars, its crystalline hull shimmering with reflected starlight. Commander Vexa stood upon the observation deck, her four eyes sweeping the endless black ahead. The Zans had charted this region meticulously over the past century, but something felt off today. Commander, Senior Analyst Kai's voice broke in, edged with unease. We've detected an anomalous energy signature. It's enormous. Vexa glided quickly to the analysis station, her hover pads emitting a low hum. The data defied logic, a power surge rivaling a small star, yet somehow stable and contained. Source? She asked, mandibles clicking in curiosity. Unknown, Commander. It doesn't align with any recorded civilization's energy signatures. Kai's appendages flicked over the glowing interface. And it's moving. Deliberately, the bridge crew fell silentus. The implications sank in all their centuries. Of space exploration, the Zan Confederation had encountered dozens. Off-space staring species, but none had ever demonstrated such energy manipulation case at show. Vexa ordered and the main viewport shifted to display a magnified view of their target Thivisol that appeared before them. IFID conventional design philosophy. Where Zine. Ships were elegant crystalline astrustus, designed to channel cosmos energies. This ship was a stark contrast. All moles and armored plates, it weighs enormous, easily. Twice the length of the Concordia, with what appeared to be numerous weapon emplacements along its hull by the first light whispered novation. Officer Tear, those aren't standard energy projectors, they kinetiquapons, Vex scientific TR training with. Her instincts, kinetic weapons, had been abandoned by most civilizations millennia. Deemed primitive and inefficient, yet the energy redangs unexalted this vessel possessed technology that could rival or exceed their own were being scanned, Kai announced. Their sensors are incredible ether, mapping our entire ship down tough molecular level before Vex cold respond to communication. Request flashadoc rouse their systems. The unknown vessel wanted to talk, except the transmission ordered straightening. Her posture first contact protocols were clear. Show strength through dignity, respect through tension. The holographic display materialized in the center of the brigand for the first time. The Zans saw their counterparts. The alien was bical with only 2 eyes and peculiar pagantation. It wore what appeared to be formal uniform, adorned with symbol and markers of rank greetings. The alien spoke its words. Automatically translated by their systems. I am Captain Sarah Chenef, the United Earth Federation. Vessel Hyperion, we come in peace, Vex. Felt a mixture of relief and fascination. I am Commander. Vex of the Zan Confederation. Ves Concordia, we to come in peace, paused, considering her next word. Scarefully your vessel. It's unlike anything we encountered. Captain Chin smiled, a gesture that the Zen's cultural database interpreted as friendly. The Hyperion is our latest deep space battleship. We've learned through experience that it's better to be prepared for anything when exploring the one-cone mound battleship. Vex's translator struggled with the concept your vessel combines both exploration and combat capabilities. Of course, Chen replied, as if it were the most natural thing in enthralled space is vast and often dangerous. Believe in being ready for both peaceful exchange and defensive action. Would you be interested in a closer looked offer? Was unprecedented, most specious guarded. Their military technologiesless, yet these humans seemed almost gare to share. We would be honored, Vex responded, her curiosity overwhelming anti-diplomatician, though I must admit your technology raises many questions. Shay energy output alone. Chen's smile widened. You've noticed our fusion drive. It's just one of many innovations we've developed. Humanity has always had a knack for pushing the boundaries of what's possible as arrangements. We're made for a diplomatic delegation to visit the Hyperion. Vexa couldn't Shakith, feeling that this encounter would change everything. These humans, with their curious blend of advanced technology and seemingly primitive editing choices, their openness combined with obvious military might, represented Mython. Entirely new in the galaxy. Looking at her crew's excited faces, Shek knew they felt it to the universe had just become a much more interestingless innovation. Lesh the Zan delegation Eterias in the Hyperion receiving bay. Their matter transfer technology meeting seamlessly with the human ship's containment. Field's commander Vex's first impression was one of ordered coasts where Zan ships were. The serene and minimalist the human vessel bustled, with activity crew members moved purposefully through corridors that seemed to blend function with efficiency in ways she'd never considered. Captain Chen greeted them, personally accompanied by her senior staff. "Welcome aboard the Hyperion," she said warmly. "I hope you'll find our ship interesting, though it might seem a bit unconventional by your standards. Elstert artificial gravity is remarkably to Chief. Engineer Zix. His sensor tells waving gently, the field strength is perfectly calibrated, yet I detect no crystal matrices or quantum stabilizers. Lieutenant Commander Marcus." Rodriguez, Hyperion's chief engineer, grinded whoosh rotating habitat sections combined with electromagnetic field generator, simple, reliable, and easy to maintain in combat conditions. Zin exchanged glances. Such an elegant solution, yet none of their species had considered it. Their own gravity systems required constant maintenance, an enormous energy expenditure. As they toured the ship, each revelation brought new surprises. The humans had weaponized principles that Zans considered purely theoretical. Their point defense systems used predictive AI to track and intercept threats faster than organic minds could process. Their arm wasn't just protectivite, was reactive, capable of adapting its molecular structure to different types of damage. And this Captain Chen sat leading them into a vast chamber as a redroponic Spavex stared in wonder at vertical gardens that stretched from floor to ceiling. "You grow your own sustenance in space food synthesizer, are fine for basic nutrition," Chun explained, "but nothing beats reoffable plants. The plants help with oxygen recycling and crew morale." Before Vex could respond, alarms blared through those ship. Captain Chen's demeanor shifted instantly from tour guide to commander. "Bridge report. Captain, we've detected a massive gravitational anomaly forming 2 light minutes from our position." A voice responded, "Energy signature suggests a natural phenomenon, but it's threatening. Nearby mining outpost." Chen turned to her guests. "I apologize, but Duddy calls. Would you like to observe our response? It might give you a better understanding of how we handle inspected situations." Vex nodded, fascinated by the rapid transformation of the ship's atmosphere from peaceful to alert, without any sense of panic. On the bridge, holographic displays showed a swirling vortex of space-time threatening to tear apart a small asteroid. Mining facility. The Hyperion science officer, Dar Emily Wong, was already analyzing data streams. "It's a quantum filament cascade," announced the mining operation's sexic particle extraction must have weakened the local space-time fabric. "Can stabilize it?" Chen asked, already moving to her command chair. "Conventional mids would take too long," Wong replied, "but if we reconfigure our weapon systems to create a counter-resonance, Chinata do it." Rodriguez, divert power from the main fusion core to the forward battery tactical. "Prepare to modulate kinetic strike platforms to match Daughter Wong's calculations." The Zans watched in amazement as the humans transformed their weapons of war into tools of salvation. Energy beams that could punch through battleship armor were calibrated to stabilize Spacetamile launchers fired special Azetarubs, instead of warheads, creating a network of gravitation anchors around the anomaly counter-resonance wave. "Ready, Wong," announced, firing in 3-1. The Hyperions forward section lit up. Astasins of energy beams converged on Thevertex. For a moment, space itself Semedo hold its breath, then gradually the anomaly began to collapse in on itself, rinking until it winked out of existence. Cheers erupted from a Hume crew, but Vexa barely heard them. Her mind was racing with the implications of what just witnessed. These humans had just built a warship. They'd created a vessel that could adapt to any situation, where weapons could become tools and soldiers could become saviors at a moment's notice. "Remarkable," she whispered. "Species has such a unique approach to problem solving." Captain Chen smiled. "We've learned that the best solutions often come from looking at problems from unexpected angles. Speaking of which, would you be interested in seeing how we handle emergency medical situations? Our medical bay has some innovations I think your scientists might find intriguing." As they left Sebridge, Vexa couldn't help but notice how quickly the crew returned to their normal duties, as if averting spatial disasters was just another day's work perhaps. That was what truly set humans apart. Not their technology or their strength, but their incredibly apality and their ability to foresee the extraordinary with practical deterioration. Echoes of war. The diplomatic chamber aboard the Hyperion hummed with tension. What had begun as a cultural exchange session quickly evolved into something more urgent. Commander Vex and Captain Chen sat across from each other, while a holographic transmission from the Zan High Council flickered between them. The Kashi battle fleet has breached Theater Rim defense line, announced Council Leader Mik, her image wavering with interferences there, demanding immediate surrender or fall. Zan colonies in the sector of Exocondry hearts quickened. The Kishi were notorious raiders, but they'd never been this bold. How many ships? 37 capital ships with support craft. They've somehow developed shields resistant to our energy weapons, Captain. Chen, who had remained silent, leaned forward. Excuse me, Captain. Council Leader, these Skicha are the same ones who've been raiding isolated outposts. Correct, Captain, though. Clearly they've been planning something far larger. Chen's expression shifted subtly, a change Vexoas, learning to recognize as the human transitioning to tactical thinking, and they've never encountered human ships before. No mix confirmed they avoid Union space. Entirely interesting. Shin activated a tactical display. Commander Vexa, would your council be open to a joint operation? The Hyperion isn't just a single ship, it's a test. Ved for new defensive technologies. We've begun developing countermeasures against exactly this kind of threat. The council chamber erupted an overlapping voice joint. Military operations with a newly discovered species. It was unprecedented. The Kishi threat was immediate and devastating. What exactly are you proposing, Mix? Asked Ken's fingers. Dansadakris. The display bringing up technical shemics. The Creasy developed shield, against your primary weapons P. Energy beams, but the Hyperion uses a hybrid approach. Kinetic weapons, electromagneticless graviton disruption. Fields we can punch through their defenses while they are focused on countering Zin technology. And what would humanity want? Returned Sumione asked from the council. Naligasinch Chen replied without hesitation or understanding of quantum mechanics and crystal matrices could revolutionize our medical technology. Plus we've learned that making friends is generally better than staying isolated in this galaxy. Vexa watched the human captain carefully. There was something in her demeanor, a controlled eagerness, that suggested she wasn't Reviel and Javithing. Captain, you seem rather prepared for this situation. Chen Smilu is knowing, let's just say humanity has experience with being underestimated, learned to be ready for opportunities to prove ourselves. After further discussion, Deconsil agreed within hours the Hyperion was moving into position near the Zan Defense Fleet. Vexa, now serving as Leah, soon stood on the human bridge watching their preparations with fascination. The crew moved with practical deficiency. But there was something else, a palpable excitement. They were about to face an enemy that outgunned them significantly, yet they seemed almost eager. Your crew doesn't seem
I'm concerned about the odds.
Vex observed. Chen checked final system readouts as she replied, humans have a long story of beating overwhelming odds. We've learned that superior numbers don't always mean superior strategy. Sides the Cressy have fallen into the oldest trap in warfare. They think they know all the rules of engagement, Andy. Don't, Commander. If there's one thing humans excel at, it's changing thurls. Chen turned to her tacticalificer status of Operation Trojan Horsel systems ready. Captain Drone Swarmsair in position, in cloaked electronic warfare suites are spun up, just waiting for the cachet to spring our trap. The massive enemy fleet Dro popped out of faster than light travel, exactly where Kuhn had predicted. Their ships were dark angular vessels bristling with weapons. Lead ship immediately broadcast their demands for surrender. Chen's response was not what anyone expected. She opened a channel to the entire Kessa fleet. This is Captain Sarah Chen of Thurith Vessel Hyperion. We've analyzed adaption, impressive adaption against Zan weapons. Vera Thorbit, you forgot something important about facing unknown enemies. She paused, for effect sometimes. The bait is also Thebuk. Before the crash he could respond. Chun gave the order, execute Operation Trojan Horse. What followed was unlike a neat thing. Vex had ever witnessed in combat. The Hyperion drone swarms thousands of tiny automated ships deactivated, their cloaking fields, and detached themselves to Kishi vessels rather than trying to penetrate the energy shields directly. They created locust disruption fields that cause its shields to collapse inward simultaneously. The Hyperion itself seemed to transform panels, shifted driveling hidden weapon systems. But instead of firing directly at the enemy ships, they created a complex web of gravitational distortions that trapped HFY fleet in a three-dimensionalis. Now, Chen ordered, show them why you didn't corner humanity chains of command. Crashy fleet hung suspended in the Hyperion's gravitational web, their mighty ships reduced to floating sculptures in space. But Captain Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. Trapped predators were often the most dangerous. Multiple power spikes detected against the sensor officer, there trying to overload their cores to break free Vex's facial membranes. Paled if Ho's ships detonate, the combinate explosion would devastate this entire sector. They're not going to detonate, Chen said with surprising calm. Because we're going to give them a chance to surrender. Surrender. Vexo was bewildered. The fanatics, they'd rather die than watch and learn, Commander. Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to change the nature of the conflict. Chen opened a canal to the creasy flagship. This is Captain Chen. Your shields are down, your engines are contained, but more importantly, you're about to lose your entire command structure. The Kasha commander's harsh voice filled T-Bridge. We do not fear death. Human death isn't what you should be afraid of, Chen nodded to her communications. Officer Wynetited a complex sequence of transmissions. Right now, my electronic warfare suite is accessing every ship in your fleet. We're not targeting your weapon or your engines. We're targeting your chain of command protocols. Confusion rippled through the enemy fleet as their internal communications began to shift and fragment. Chen continued, her voice taking on an almost educational tone. You see, we studied your previous raids. Your entire military structure depends on absolute control from the top down. But what happens when every ship suddenly thinks it's receiving different orders from different commanders? The results were immediate and dramatic. Kashy fleet erupted in chaos as contradictory comms flooded their networks. Ships began powering down weapons, others tried to retreat, while some maintained their suicide protocol. Impressive, Vexo whispered. You've turned their greatest strength into a weakness. Humans learned long ago that rigid command structures are vulnerable. We prefer flexibility, initiative, and adaptability. Chenter Neto, her tactical officer. Phase 2. The drone swarms attached to the Kashi ships shifted function, extending phalanx that began interfacing with vessels' external systems. Within minutes, ship after ship reported complete system failures. The Kashi commander's voice returned, now tingered with something approaching respect. Our systems are completely isolated from external access. Are they? Voice held a hint of amusement? Or did you just assume it? Where while you were focused on developing shields against energy weapons, we were developing ways to bridge the gap between different technologic systems. Those aren't just drones attached to your hull, they're universal translators for machine lang. The battle ended not with a dramatic explosion or a heroic last stand, but with something far more remarkable: dialogue. As the Kizi common structure crumbled, individual ship captains began making their own decisions. Many chose surrender over destruction, especially when Chan offered terms that focused on rehabilitation. Then punishment. Hours later, Azon ships began arriving to secure the captured Kishi vessels. Vex found Chen in the Hyperion's observation lounge, staring out at the aftermath of Thebatal. Your species is full of surprises, Vex said. You could have simp L destroy them. We could have. Chen agreed, but that would have just created martyrs and inspired more conflict. This way, we've deepened into dialogue. Some of those Kishi captains showed real potential once they were free to think for themselves. You planned this from the beginning, didn't you? Even before the council contacted you about the invasion. Chen smiled. Let's just say we've learned to be prepared for multiple outcomes. Humanity has a saying, best victory is the one where Yagan an ally instead of destroying an enemy. A remarkable philosophy for a species with such powerful weapons. Maybe you developed powerful weapons. Pressa Celiso, we could afford to be merciful. Chen turned from the window. Speaking of which, I think it's time we discuss the real reason The Hyperion was in this sector, detected some unusual activity that might interest both our peoples beyond the horizon. The Hyperion Cure conference room was packed with an unusual mix of species commander Vex sat beside Captain Chen, while reformed Kashi captains and Sethan council members sitoned it via hologram. The room's atmosphere was charged with anticipation as Chen activated the three-dimensional star map 3 months ago. Our deep space sensors detected these energy signatures, began highlighting several points off light. At first we thought that they were natural phenomena, but the pattern was too regular, too purposeful. The map zoomed in, revealing strange distortions in space-time. Vexa leaned forward, her scientific training immediately lyricaging the implications these are artificial correct. Chen expanded the display. We believe the ancient gates of some kind built by a civilization that predates all of ours. They had been dormant for millennia, but something is changing. They're waking up. One of the Kessie captains, Dren, spoke up. This is why our high command was so desperate to control this sector. They detected the energy signatures, but couldn't decode them. And this is why the Hyperion was really here, Vexa realized. You weren't just on a routine patrol. Chen nodded. Humanity has learned that the greatest discoveries often require diverse perspectives. We could detect the gates, but we couldn't understand them. Theson's crystal technology might be the key to interfacing with them and the Kriasi. She smiled at Tira, and their experience with deep space phenomena could be crucial for safe activation. The implications were staggering. 3 species. Until recently, strangers or enemies now face the possibility of fun-looking secrets that could transform their understanding of the galaxy. There's more. Chen continued, as analysts believe these gates form a network. If we can activate them, we might discover new regions of space, perhaps of new galaxies that were previously beyond our reach. The risks would be enormous, one of the council members cautioned. So are the potential benefits, Vex Rec countered. Think of what we've already accomplished by working together. Hyperion's technology, combined with our theoretical understanding, Takashi's practical experience with deep space phenomena, were stronger together than we ever were apart. Commander Vex is right, Dren added, surprising everyone. Pao became raiders because we believe galaxy's resources were limited, that had to take what we needed to survive. But if these gates lead to new frontiers, Chun stood, her expression serious but thoughtful. What we're proposing is unprecedented, a joint mission combining best of all our civilizations. The Hyperion would serve as the test bed, modified with ZTH and crystal matrisan Kessie sensor technology, a crew drawn from all 3 species exploring Tager. The room erupted in discussion, but Vexa noticed something fascinating. Despite their differences, their recent conflicts, there was no hostility in the debate. Instead, there was excitement, curiosity, and a shared sense of purpose. Hours later, as final details were being worked out, Vexa found Chen in their now familiar spot in the observation lounge. Was this your plan all along? She asked. To unite her species through discovery rather than conflict. Chen laughed softly. Humanity learned long ago that the universe is too vast and too mysterious for any species to face alone. We built ships like the Hyperion, not just to protect ourselves, but to bridge gaps between Civiziona Shusha. Sometimes that means showing strength, sometimes it means showing mercy, but it always means being ready to extend a hand in friendship even to former enemies. The greatest achievements in human history often came from people who were once on opposite sides, learning to work together. Chen turned to face Herfried. The gates are just the beginning. Think of what else we might discover, not just about the universe, but about each other. Through the observation window, the first modified probe was launching toward the nearest gate, its hull gleaming with a combination of humanengineering Zin crystals and Kish's sensors. It was ugly by any conventional standard, a hybrid of different technologies and philosophies. But to Vexa, it was beautiful, a physical symbol of what diverse species could achieve. She said thoughtfully, Han, we first detected the Hyperion, we thought we were discovering a single new species. Instead, we found something far more valuable. Oh, Chen raised an eyebrow. What's that? A future one, bigger and brighter. than any of us could have imagined alone. As if in response to her words, the probe reached the gate. Energy patterns shifted ancient. Machinery alicant, and a door to the unknown Biganto opened the next chapter, and their shared story was about to begin the end.